third term coming from the Cats. 6 goals in that quarter. They lead by 27 at three-quarter time. It's 13-9 to 7-18. Matthew Stokes has booted 3. Tom Lonigan's booted a couple as well. And Essendon plagued by inaccuracy in that third quarter. Let's go down to Tim and Cameron on the boundary.
Well, Geelong have just been super impressive in that quarter, Lingy. All night I've been so impressed by their two-way running, their sustained pressure. Often Essendon look like they're going to break into some space. Geelong get there in numbers, and then they're so aggressive around the ball too. I don't know that I've seen the side so aggressive around the ball, and then their ability to be able to split and run into that space after they gain possession.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see that defensive pressure you're talking about. It's able to create turnovers, and then 3 of the players have been absolutely fantastic tonight in that area, but also in their offensive plays. Matty Stokes, Alan Christensen and Steve Motlop just provided that really strong, hard spread from stoppage. They've all hit the scoreboard. Matty Stokes has kicked the 3 goals. Just really, really impressive, the fact that they can do it so well defensively, but then join in the attacking part of the game as well.
Brendan Goddard, 18 possessions, and Lee, reason to be shaken as well.
Well, yes, there was a high shepherd that we saw. I think it was Kelly here when in a minute. Yeah, that one. I mean, if he's made high contact, well, let's have a look at it here. What is hard to see? Did he actually make high contact? It was certainly
it's the
certainly
jump
high
off
contact,
the ground,
I think,
which is the indicator.
I mean, you can lay the contact, but if you choose to bump in that situation and you make head contact, well, then you will be penalised.
Those bumps 10 seconds apart, so wow.
The Bombers are still in this. You look at the scoring shots from the last quarter, 10 scoring shots for the Bombers, 8 for Geelong. So if they're able to keep going forward and start capitalising on those opportunities, it's important they get the first couple here, but they're still in the game, the Bombers.
I reckon they'd like to have Ryder out there instead of Gumbleton. They could get him in the ruck and get a bit of movement out of the ruck position.
Start of the final term on Friday Night Football. On the way down, it's won by West. Heppel went into the pack. Hocking gets a quick kick down towards half-forward. Comma, did he have the football? Apparently. Enright kicks beyond the wing. Leap at the back from Hibbert. Falls to Goddard, in trouble. Frisking him was Blitzarves. Comes across towards Heppel. He's played a great second half. Gave it to Hibbert. Hibbert loops a hand pass into the path of Myers. He runs onto it. Probing kick inside the forward 50. Loose ball at the back. The Bombers needing a goal. The intention was good. Can he kick it off the ground? Hurley, no, he couldn't. Gumbleton knocked it his way. Hurley couldn't capitalise. Mackey comes back to Taylor. Wasn't a mark, but ample time for Taylor to chip to the pocket. Careless kick. Bartel stops completely. Hand passes across to Christensen. Running out of space. So attractive. Neither's the kick. He kicks it up towards the wing on the bounce, but something good could come of it.
Duncan's kick looks pretty good off the boot. Selwood pushed in the back. Gee, that was loose by Hocking because the Bombers were in there. Didn't need to do it. I mean, Selwood's been good tonight, but they haven't won off his back tonight, have it? It's been other players. I just think a moment ago, I mean, it's easy to be wise, but how handy Davey would have been at the foot of that ball when the ball went forward.
Yeah, it was interesting to get your forward speed. Your main speed in your forward line has been substituted, and they really just look like they got nothing much at ground level to complement a big batch of height.
He kicked the first goal of the match, Blitzarves, and he's gone and kicked it. First goal of the last quarter. Well, this whole Geelong thing, I mean, Blitzarves, trying to make the Olympic team last year. I mean, they're crazy the way they do these things. It's just so impressive.
Well, he's just doing a good job. I mean, Bell Chambers is actually killing him in the hit-outs, but Weston and Blitzarves have been pretty good in their ground-level second effort agility stakes. And I think the clearances obviously are going Essendon's way, but Geelong's overall mobility is helping.
They're just crazy the way they play, the Cats. The passage of play across half-back with Bartel and Christensen handballing, flipping it over the top of their heads. Bartel tries a torp, and it just seems to come off for them so often.
Well, Chambers knocked it down. Selwood couldn't find a way through. Johnson chopped off, though, by Comma. Watson shrugs free, under pressure, kicks inside the forward 50. Harry's there. Did okay, too. Found it on the ground, Taylor. Mackey, Podsy Adley. Selwood is on. Selwood will get it on the outer side. Cruising past is Taylor. Taylor looks down towards half forward. Takes something off the kick. Goes to Steve Johnson. Not a bad sort of thing to do, but it's not going to work out too well. Heppel to Watson. Watson kicks inside the forward 50 on the stretch is Gumbleton, and he's taken the mark. Well, that was ambitious in midfield, that kick. Intended for Johnson, but really it was never on. Should have simply gone down the line and played the percentages.
Yeah, where you are.
I guess this would normally be one of those 50-50 shots. Centre corridor, he's going to kick the ball from just inside the 50-metre line, but given
15 seconds.
their conversion in that third quarter, there's an enormous amount of pressure on his shoulders. Let's see if he can handle it.
Just thinking about what I said, Tom, they're not going to take advice from a man wearing makeup, are they? There goes the kick, Gumbleton. And they answer. They get a much-needed goal. Straight kick, a rarity.
So he's kicked his 2 goals, Gumbleton, and you feel like he's... I mean, he hasn't done enough, really, has he? But
he hasn't done enough. I mean, he's one of those players, he has to be kicking his 3 goals, taking sort of 5 or 6 marks anyway, because what I find with him, he's not bad in the air when he has a leap at it, but he's not very good at ground level. That's why I reckon Ryder would be better at ground level in the forward line than...
He looked the most likely at the start of the game with Mackie as that matchup, though, didn't he?
Yeah.
So Gumbleton's goal maybe gives Essendon a glimmer. It's a big, big margin, we know. And
Adley's started back as a spare defender as well, Bruce, the 7th defender for Geelong.
They're going to be so hard to penetrate, aren't they? It's got to start here in the centre. Goddard, after Hocking helped him, well done, Enright. Poking forward, Hooker, deft little touch to Lovett Murray. Back to Hocking, back to Goddard. Well, one thing we're going to find out a lot about the Bombers in the next 20 minutes. Cranmery, good mark.
Play on.
Watson. And then Watson is delivered beautifully at times tonight. Hurley again in a very difficult position. A couple of his marks have been on the boundary and out wide.
Take his very best from here. Watson again distributing the footy, though.
Thanks.
It's in good hands when he's got it. But even he in that third term missed a couple. You'd probably back him into kick. Often the way after a spate of behind, sometimes the rarest of goals comes along. And this is not a bad effort. Just sliding across the face, stretching Bell Chambers. Bell Chambers beside the behind post with a chance to kick a goal here. We've seen as this goal-kicking style has evolved, going around to the right, they've become easier from sharp angles. Let's see what Tom can do. And he puts it through. The evolution of the difficult goal. So the Bombers not spent yet. Hurley's kick just missing, sliding across the face, but Bell Chambers active in the other pocket, stayed with it. Took the mark and then thought his way through it. So 72-93, not insurmountable. Just under 6 minutes remaining, or rather 16 minutes remaining.
Just watch the technique here. It's not the typical lining up 90 degree with a one step, but that's actually a far more difficult kick. You see so many players hit the fat part of the ball and spray anyway. That was really impressive from the big fella.
So we're back to that 21-point margin that we've talked about a bit tonight.
High! Stop there!
So that's a famous Selwood move, isn't it? He is so good at it. Getting down low. Kicks hard and high to full forward. Hardingham couldn't quite. Hawkins attacked. Pushed off the footy. High tackle by Schmitz on Bagley. Let's see how quickly Essendon are prepared to move the ball here.
Got to be really brave, Bruce, and take the ball on through the middle of the ground.
Well, terrible kick.
Pass on the 50.
Lovett Murray was the target, but I don't know whether he really demanded the ball and went to the right spot. I mean, the kick missed him, I know, but Bartel just looked like he was
On the 50.
more determined to get there first.
Well, he's a last quarter specialist. Normally when they're behind Geelong, he's the one that can make a difference.
He can kick a long ball.
Yeah. You give him a very, very good chance from here. He's got it. He's the man, isn't he, Jimmy?
He's one of those players, I mean, if you think of all the players you've seen, who would you give the ball 50 metre out if your shot was for your life? He'd be close enough to the top of the list. I mean, he's just such a beautiful, consistent, accurate long kick.
As an opponent, Nick, he must give you the pip at times, this bloke.
Yeah, I've still got plenty of nightmares about Jimmy Bartel. but he just does it so often. There's no fluke about him. He's an absolute warrior.
I know it's opportunistic, but can the Cats win the 2013 flag? What do you think, Lee?
Oh, they certainly can. No doubt about that. I mean, they're going to be 7. Looks like they're going to win tonight, 7-0. Yeah.
Nick?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've obviously got to win enough games for finals first, but they're over halfway there.
7 games still to come at Skill Stadium as this ball comes down towards the 50. All Geelong. Mackie needs all of that time too as he comes out towards the wing, stretching. Blitzarves did well to Johnson. He looks inside. Enright goes immediately back to Johnson. Well thought out. He's 60 metres out, pulls it back towards the middle. Smets on the lead. That was classical.
Wasn't that 2 great players doing 2 great actions? I mean, that 25-metre handball that found Johnson, he just a kick across the body.
Right on us.
Simpatico, wasn't it?
Billy Smets is thinking, I don't mind playing in this side at the moment with those 2 serving it up.
Every chance to kick another goal here then, Billy. He's got 1. Runs inside the 50. Kick is on the way. That's a beauty. Splits the middle. It was more about the thought processes than even the execution, wasn't it? I mean, they just knew what was on. It was like one was leading the other, but they were reading from the same book. Wonderful kick too to end it. Dangerous forward, small forward, just fits in. Hawkins has been pretty disappointing tonight, just the 1 goal. Smets and others have filled the breach.
So Smets with the 2nd goal. Stevie J, 32 disposals. He had 31 last week, 30 the week before that. He is a football genius.
He is, and you speak about can they win the flag. 10 of their players have played less than 50 games tonight, so they're only going to keep getting better as the year goes on. So you imagine the team will improve as they improve.
And you've got Chapman, Varco and Corey.
They're handy.
And a few others there. I mean, Vardy and a few others. So it's a brilliant performance tonight. Kelly's kick to space and getting back hooker. Short to Fletcher, to Zaharakis, to Fletcher. Important, I think, that Essendon finish this off. 50 against Mackie, so Howlett. This forward line hasn't functioned well for the Bombers tonight. And then Howlett quickly on, not a great kick. Almost cut off by Selwood. Lonigan, Enright, and then Enright with a little deft touch to Thurlow, who was so impressive early.
He looks a player, doesn't he, Thurlow? Heppel, who really lifted in that 3rd term, standing the mark. As Thurlow drives it up towards the wing. Hooker almost again. That's been the story of his night, really. Half chances with those marks, almost. But many of them coming to the deck. He is a good mark normally, but the pressure has been enormous. And the Cats have been prepared to contest as best they can. West has been watching the others. Illusions of adequacy there, just hammering a hand pass forward, but not quite what we saw earlier. Smets, though, the beneficiary again. Selwood, Kelly. Not a bad spot for it, to space. Coming up was Motlop. He gets the crumb. He's right on the 50. No one is back. He sends it high. Following the footy back is Carlisle. Bounces obligingly for him. Goes to Fletcher in the goal square. Confronted. This is a 50-50 ball now. Myers, but they've got 4 on 3. Goddard breaks away. Miscues with the kick. Now a chance for Enright. Grabs it a couple outside the 50. Kicks long down towards full forward. Blitzarves on the left boots. And he kicks it behind.
With Vardy in the wings, you're thinking, Blitzarves, Podsiadly, I mean, they're not going to fit them all in, are they? But Vardy kicked 6 last week. He's playing his 3rd VFL game this weekend. I know they just rate him so highly.
Rate him really high. It's a bit like not the problem, but the challenge the Sydney Swans have. Also, Mike Pike playing such great football when they've got Tippett to come back in. So it's an embarrassment of riches at the minute.
Tom, has Blitzarves gone past West or not?
Not yet, I don't think, no.
Fair enough, okay. Anyway, it's a wonderful, wonderful problem to have, isn't it? Duncan, Winderlick, hasn't done much tonight. Comma, has had some moments, not a great handball. Melsham has Goddard out wide, wanted to use him. Bit of a sloppy handball. Goddard with some time. Can he deliver? Looks a good kick. Mark taken by Watson. Has been very good tonight. He's just been overwhelmed a bit by the numbers, the wave. It's like a tsunami wave when Geelong get running. 25, about to have his 26th disposal. If he kicked a couple of goals in that third quarter, but he wasn't alone. I mean, they just had so many opportunities. Those numbers are pretty good, aren't they? He's played well. What does he do? He kick to the top of the square. He does. Build it away. And the mopping up done by Bartel.
Mackie sends it wide. That's a nice kick, a perfect kick, really. Lonigan been resolute tonight at both ends of the ground, has put his body in. High ball beyond the wing. Hawkins reaches over the top, didn't complete the mark. Lovett Murray had it, lost it. Carlisle did well. Down to Myers. Myers feeds it back. Taken on the half volley by Hooker. Goes to Comma. Comma against the boundary line. Goes down towards half forward. Cramry in front. And Lonigan again. That defiant fist.
The Scotty's had a good patch, good start to his coach. He got my father a couple of weeks ago, so it's been a pretty good couple of months, Tom, in his life.
He's batting at 80%, Lee.
First child, yeah, that's right, as a coach. Or as a father.
Oh, no. Every now and then I keep some good stats, but I haven't got that one. So common down low.
Just trying to work what constitute 80% as a father.
That's right. Yeah. Let's get back to the ball game, eh? So Comma gets the ball to Myers, and then Myers to full forward. Hurley hasn't been able to impose himself. Little gift to Watson. Kept the ball in, but it might be to Geelong's advantage. And then Mackie, just growing in confidence, Geelong. And to Enright.
Podriadly on screen, ran into the goalpost there. That's been a significant win, hasn't it, since midway through the second quarter. He pushed back. He's a fantastic athlete, and James Podriadly.
One of the questions I like to ask Chris Scott when he joins us tonight is, when Lonigan goes forward, Podriadly, I mean, are the guys doing that themselves, or is that coming from the bench? Is that a Scott move?
I'd suggest the boys would be doing it themselves out on the field.
Enright towards the wing then. Johnson almost the mark. Knocked away by Hibbert. Hawkins had it, fell at his feet. Schroeder did nicely. Johnson lays it off. Motlop looks across the ground, decides instead to hand pass to Johnson, who's the master of that handball, into the path of Selwood. That time Selwood under pressure as he kicked. It bounces only about 15 metres away. Gumbleton confronted by a much smaller number 3 representing Geelong, Bartel, and between the pair, they lock it in.
Trying to keep it there. Winderlick, just no one really to kick it to, so he goes back to Hardingham, and that's a sloppy handball. Back to Goddard, and Goddard's little kick not going to come off. Lucky for Essendon as a boundary throw.
That's where I'd love to see Hurley presenting up the ground. Goddard looks up on half-back, and there's just nothing to kick to, so he's forced into a scrubby little 15-metre kick, but that's where Hurley can add a dimension to his game. Present up, hit the wings, take a few marks up high on the ground.
So Hocking belting the ball forward. Here is Hurley. So is that just work rate, Nick, or is it just, what do you think that is?
Well, that might be his role. His role might be to play deep with inside 50 and draw the ball in long, but that's another string to his bow that he can really add.
Gumbleton takes the mark. Lee, do you think Ryder will be in the team next week?
Yes, I would if I was to make that judgment call on the way I see it externally.
So Melsham gets it from Hibbert. And taking Johnson on. Bouncing and then running and then left foot.
Lonigan from behind got a fist on it, although he took the arms, or he connected around the scone more particularly, so it's a free kick to Hurley. We'll get this ball right on the 50. Goddard beckoning long. Kick goes in that direction and beyond. It's through for a goal. That's a beautiful kick. Oh. It would seem too little too late. 7.5 minutes remaining in this game. The clash of the top two. It's 106-78.
You mentioned Ryder a couple of times, but I just think the speed of your team can often be determined by how quick your ruckmen are. And that's one of the things I think Ryder as a ruckman gives Essendon, because he's very agile around those second efforts around the middle of the ground. And I think Belchames has been good in the contest, but not much good at ground level.
So here's the next 4 for Geelong. They're 7-0. Their first match at Simmons is Gold Coast Suns at home. So they've got Collingwood, massive match next week. Then Port Adelaide, both those, well, Collingwood away, but that's nothing. And then Gold Coast and GWS. They get over Collingwood, they're going to be very heavy favourites to be 11-0. And when they get to 7-0, watch out. Good things happen, historically.
Yep. Remember 2011, they won their first 13, wasn't it, from memory? But they certainly went a long way into the season before they lost a game in that premiership year. Chris Scott took a long time to actually coach a losing game.
Oh.
Johnson, Goddard, Zaharakis, so good early, Zaharakis, wanting to find some space or courage from Heppel and Christensen. Kelly to Selwood, and then Selwood handball misses Bartel. Hurley on the up, Cranberry, a real chance here for Cranberry's goal. Essendon get another one. They close a little, that was courageous in the middle. I mean, is there time? Is there any hope at all here? I mean,
it's about 7 minutes to go. They need to kick 4 goals. I mean, that's a big ask, but...
What's your theory on that one, Lee?
Well, more goals to go than minutes to go, Nick. On that basis, they can still win.
I tell you what, Lee, isn't it impressive that Nick actually knows that you
Nick.
say
I
that?
appreciate that. I'm glad.
He's been listening to you over the years.
Absolutely.
Well, it's centre break speak, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It's great courage here. Just eyes on the foot. He's just impressed the footy well, the way he's come into AFL football.
Not even a peak, not even a thaw.
It's one of the great parts of our game, that, isn't it?
Yep. And he stayed out there on the far wing.
So, Geelong would like a goal here just to take the heat completely out of the game, but it's likely to be quite heated for the next couple of minutes. The Bombers just scenting it. There's just under 7 minutes remaining. 106 to 94. The attendance tonight. Big house at Etihad Stadium, 53,014.
Fourth biggest crowd ever here, Dennis, and the biggest crowd since that 13-zip game in 2009.
Watson kicks it down inside the forward 50. Hurley in trouble. Well done, Podsy Adley. Worried him out of it. Christensen kicks it up towards the wing. Smith slipped over. Opens the door for Hardingham. Forced to feed it back to Goddard. Some big names involved there. The short one from Watson. Hocking over the top. Melksham in space. Looks up 75 metres out. Long down towards full forward. It was really a nothing kick. Not sure what it was designed to do. And the ball runs through for a behind.
But that's the style of play we've been encouraging the Bombers to bring out for the last 2.5 quarters.
And the key target for the Bombers going forward was Michael Hurley, but he just led in the wrong direction. It basically just asked too much of Melksham.
Lost some time there too as the kick comes in. Up goes Taylor. Surely should have got a free kick. Hooker across to Myers. Myers, a left footer, will find himself in trouble there, but played it well. They stayed off him. Brilliant smother by Johnson. He's done it all tonight. Ricochets to Enright. Drives the ball towards the wing. It's going to be a relayed free kick. Selwood was put down in midfield. Advantage has been paid. Motlop goes to Stokes. Back to Motlop in the nick of time. Motlop couldn't find it. Hacks it out of midair and kicks it across the boundary line. Intended, I think, for Taylor. It was quick thinking.
Joel, draw free kick for a block, okay?
They've averted disaster. That was a dead ball. The free kick had already been paid. We've got two prized players going hammer and tongs like that.
It's a nasty dead ball, isn't it? So Bill Chambers getting up. Selwood down low. Bill Chambers. Kelly. Still Kelly. And then Heppel. Winderlich. And that ball going to be a ball up. It's a harsh call, I know, but Melsham's had 2 chances in the last minute that really, if one of those had gone through for goal, there would have been some hope here. He had to convert one of them. You feel that it's just too big a task. They've done well to get back within almost striking range, not quite, to be truthful. I mean, it's impossible to see them winning, but they have been able to erode that lead a little. They're on the back foot here, the Bombers. Well done, though, but even better done by Blitzarves. Brilliant by Duncan. Smets sizing it up, goes to Motlop. So creative, Motlop, and he kicks poorly. He really should have given it off.
He was waiting to draw to give the ball to Stokes, but it just didn't quite eventuate. So he thought, oh, well, the percentage is now to have the shot myself.
Tell you what, he's had a lot of shots on goal for one tonight. He's played very, very well, but he's missed a few.
Geez, Stokes has been impressive tonight as a midfielder. He looks like he's got much more run in his legs than I've ever regarded him as an athlete.
It looked a case, Lee, where Christensen and Motlop really burst onto the scene and probably challenged Matty Stokes for that role in the small forward category. So he just worked his backside off over Sunham and got himself extremely fit and can run through the midfield.
Hardingham short of the wing. Umpire, I think, will ball it up. Comma battles with Hall and Smith. So Steve Johnson, 35 possessions, one shy of his career high, 36. He's done that twice. And still plenty of time in the game. Blixarves, hand pass was smothered. Lovett Murray in the direction of Watson. We don't count that one. Almost counted that one. Coming through is Stokes. Hand passes forward to no one in particular. Goddard, the pressure still in this game. Melcham goes back to Lovett Murray, attracted a crowd. Comma throws it on the boot, short of the wing. Knocked down by Myers, clears a path for Zaharakis. Now he can go. Zaharakis in two minds, took too long. Bounces across to Hibberd. Hibberd dances through the oncoming pack. Comes wide to Hurley. Hurley measures the kick. Goes long. Drifting back, guess who? What a player he's been, what a player he is.
And the umpire calling him Boris there, using the nickname. He's obviously been around a while.
Twice best and fairest, both in premiership years, weren't they, Tom?
Yep.
Blixarves gives away a free kick, but we're down to 3.5 minutes now, 107 to 85. Short one comes to Myers.
We know Myers is a good long kick. Can he get this all the way? Can't quite get the hook back. Geelong with the numbers, and that's a disappointing result. They've done a great job, the tall defenders, tonight. When Dennis said guess who a moment ago, it probably could have been 2 or 3 to be truthful. He picked a good one with Enright. But they've got so many good sweepers, the Cats, haven't they? I mean, Bartel does it well. The big guys do it well.
Podjadley now, I mean, he's just had another string to his bow late in his career, able to go and play big defence.
Have we ever seen a more flexible team?
No, well, not certainly the way they've played tonight. They've been up and back.
So Duncan from Johnson. So Stevie J must have got those numbers, I reckon, Ben.
Yep.
And now Hawkins, who's had a quieter one, but that won't worry them. I mean, if Tommy kicks 2 and they win by 4, that's okay. It's only when you get beaten you worry about that, isn't it?
I think in fairness, Bruce, he had a couple of near misses. He's on 36 now.
So set shots tonight. Cats 11-2, Essendon 6-6.
About 13 scorers to this point in the game. I mean, that's how you love your score to be generated by a lot of, not goal kickers, but actual scorers.
So Hawkins, who's been kicking 2 and 3 all season, hasn't kicked a bag so far, but he's been ticking the scoreboard over. And he's thumped that and hit it hard and kicked his second goal. A little bit of icing on a very beautiful cake tonight. It is a sweet victory. I mean, they have bragging rights right now in the AFL, don't they?
Yeah, they do. They're the form team in the competition, and gee, you can't see where their real weakness is. They're just so versatile, so strong all over the ground. They haven't done that well in the clearances tonight, which is a little bit surprising, but I think clearances is one of those stats that are becoming more and more irrelevant in the game.
They don't seem to be leading to victory, Nick.
No, they don't.
They structure up really well behind the ball defensively. And when you look at the Geelong team, and Lee spoke about the triple premiership players from 2007 before the game, it really does bode to structure and culture over personnel.
Yeah. 28 points the margin then. Bill Chambers, patient that time and won it down. Lovett Murray, acts it wide. Zaharakis breaks away, goes down towards right half forward. Pitches just outside the 50. Hurley in desperate trouble. Over the top was Taylor. Close to the boundary line, Bartel. In fact, he took it out. Now, Tom, just a question without notice. You were talking about the ruckman that Geelong have got. You didn't mention my man, Hamish McIntosh. Where's Hamish?
Well, he's one of those players where you keep hearing he's a couple of weeks away. Denny's been a couple of weeks away for a long time now, so he's going to come from a long way back, particularly with Vardy playing good football in the VFL also.
He took a step up this week. I was following it in the paper. He was 2 weeks, then he was indefinite, and now he's back to 2 weeks. So I was totally confused, and if any team out there is trying to track his progress, they're confused too. If that's what it was designed to do, Tom, it did.
Well, I dare say he's sitting ranked 4 at the moment out of the ruckman down at the Cattery.
Jared Rivers is the other man that we haven't spoken about. He's the third tall that they really missed tonight. Obviously, Podjadley's gone back and done the job, but I'm sure they'd prefer to have him up forward.
So boundary throw-in on the outer side. There's the time remaining. A minute 20.
So close to yet another victory in another big game. And their record since round 6 2007 is unprecedented. It was at this ground. It was Logie's night, actually, when they beat Richmond. Kicked 30-odd goals, or I think there were 19 goals at half-time that night. And this is the 150th match since then.
Just on the stoppage, isn't it how often Geelong have got actually 2 players going for the hit-out? they're exploiting the fact that the new rule, the ruckman, start a metre apart.
So Hawkins and now Bagley taking too long. Run down by Motlop, who's just so quick.
And Blitzards, with his athletic background, has obviously got the aerobic capacity to get to.
Keep a lot of contests.
Correct.
Whether he's the on-ball ruckman at the time or not, he can still get there.
Yep. So in those 150 games since that premiership year of 2007, who Tom sitting alongside me was the captain of the club, they've now won 125 out of their last 150 matches. It's an unprecedented run by a magnificent football team. They played total football again tonight. Stevie Johnson's been so symbolic of their efforts, and Geelong win the battle of the undefeateds, and they take the Bombers by 113 to 85.
Well, Stevie, it was a really close, hard, intense game of footy early on, but pleasing that you broke them open eventually.
Yeah, it was good, Lingy. We needed to start well, we thought. They got on top of us, but at half-time we were confident. The way we've finished our games so far this year, that we'd have the legs to run over the top of them, and we did.
And some of those legs, Alan Christensen, Matty Stokes, Stevie Motlop, were just able to provide a heap of run through the middle of the ground.
Yeah, we've got a lot of guys that can go through the midfield, so that's really helping our rotations in our run later in games. So many options there, and those guys are just improving week in, week out.
And it really does just set up your season now. 7-0 gives you a great launching pad for the rest of the year.
Yeah, it certainly does, but it doesn't get any easier. We've got the Pies next week, so that'll be another big challenge.
Thanks for your time, Stevie. Well done tonight, mate. Over to you, Timmy.
I'm here with Corey Enright. Another really impressive performance tonight, Corey.
Yeah, it was obviously Essendon a quality side, and they pushed us right to the end, so it was a good win.
Where did you think you turned the game around in that second quarter? Because it looked like the momentum was going their way. They had a lead at that stage by 21 points.
Yeah, I think defensively we got a lot better towards the end of the second quarter and probably the third quarter, so that probably helped us.
What will Scotty be happy about with this performance tonight?
Well, I think we played it right out to the end, so it's, it was a four-quarter effort. It was a pretty grinding win.
How good was it to see Potts back there in defence with you too?
Yeah, it's really good. Obviously gives us another option, so yeah, he played really well tonight.
Amazing start to the season, 7-0. Now really setting yourselves up for a big second half of the year and an onslaught in the finals.
Yeah, obviously to 7-0, you wouldn't have dreamed that, but just going to put the foot down now.
Well done.
Thanks a lot.
So the Cats remain perfect. 7-0. They win 17-11 to 11-19 on Friday Night Football. Steve Johnson equaled his career high tonight. 26 running in the midfield, or rather 36 running in the midfield. Steve Motlop, 28. Matthew Stokes, 24. Zaharakis, who was red hot early, finished with 31, so he came back strongly after a quiet second term. Goddard, 29. Watson, 29. 28 was the margin. Geelong's way. Let's go back to Cam.
Well, Podsy, a bit of a different role for you tonight.
Yeah, look, obviously Jared Rivers is injured at the moment, so once we get him back, we'll hopefully get back up forward. But I enjoyed it down there. Harry and Taylor and Domsy and Mackie really made it easy for me.
Can you tell us what happens in a game? We notice Harry Taylor and tonight Tommy Lonergan push forward to take a few grabs. Do you guys call that yourselves, or does that one come from the box?
Oh, we call it ourselves. We don't want to take too many risks going forward, I suppose. We're a defence-first side, but when it works well.
Midfield was just terrific tonight. Stevie J led the way again. He's been fantastic through the middle of the ground all year, hasn't he?
He's having a great year, Stevie, and those clearances. I think we got the ball forward more often than not tonight, and and Sal and Cal and Bundy in there. Stokes having great years, so hope we keep going.
Well done, Pods. Go work, mate.
Celebrations all round. So much talk about this game prior to it. All week long, the two undefeated sides were being touted around town. Who could win this battle? Well, I mentioned the resume they had coming in. They'd beaten better sides, I think. It looked a tougher draw until tonight, and it transferred onto the ground. And as much as the pressure from Geelong was palpable at times, and the longer it went, the more you felt that affected the Bombers. Matthew Stokes booted 3 goals, Hawkins and Smiths a couple. And for the opposition, Essendon, really hard for them to find any key forwards. Myers booted a couple, Gumbleton got a couple, but generally it was their little players who gave them most hope. Warm applause from their faithful as they go back into the rooms. They've won some big games. They know how to win big games, and they know how to celebrate big games. The Cats win on Friday Night Football.
This has been a Fox Footy production for Fox Sports.